Each time your opponent special summons a monster, inflict 300 damage to the opponent. That's the effect you're giving this card. These cards are, I don't know, we'll have to see. I really have to give Konami some props, some kudos, because one of the things that I've always found strange about their business practices is that they have the ability to leak their own cards, to leak their own rarities, and yet a lot of the times they don't do that. And I know in a perfect world that local stores, OTSs that get the product early, I know in a perfect world they wouldn't open it and then share it with Facebook, and that's how the sets get leaked. But in reality, for the past like 5+ years, that's how we learn about cards. That's how we learn about TCG exclusives. That's how we learn about rarities in a core set. That's how we learn about a lot of stuff. But Konami doesn't have to let it be that way, because they know all the sets, all the rarities so far in advance that they really should just leak them themselves. And I give them some kudos here because they have started doing that in the last 3 releases we've had on the Yu-Gi-Oh card database, which I know a lot of people don't use, but I think a lot of more people are going to pay attention to it, because so if you go over to card lists, you can see here they've started leaking sets. I guess we can go to sort by release date, so you can see Battles, Legends, Heroes Revenge, OTS Pack 11, and Rising Rampage are 3 sets that Konami leaked for the first time on their actual database. I'm going to give a little bit of feedback though, because yesterday or this morning, sometime really early, they leaked Rising Rampage, which is the next set, except they forgot to put any rarities, which is kind of sad. Oh, and also one of the biggest problems with like the card list function, it's really cool, don't get me wrong, however for the TC exclusives, which is what we're talking about in today's video, it's a little awkward because you can't click on them, right? So I can't see a bigger picture of them, and I can't pull them up in different windows. So in today's video, we're going to be going through the TC exclusives. This cap shell is already one that we'll talk about in this video, and I'm going to switch over. I'm going to just put one on the screen at a time. I'm still just going to be reacting to them live. I've never read these cards before besides cap shell, which I didn't realize was a TC exclusive, but I wish that this function had like the regular database where you click on the card and then it opens it in a separate window, so I don't have to have all the cards on the screen. This way we can now react to them one by one the same way that I am, so you guys aren't reading ahead or anything like that. But anyway, in today's video we're going to be looking at the TC exclusives and Rising Rampage. We're not looking at the OSG imports, they're not that great. I mean, the Dragooning card's cool, but there are 12 TC exclusives, 12 new cards, and it seems like one really new archetype that has 7 of those 12 cards that Konami is really focusing on, kind of like the danger of this set, I suppose, but I haven't read their effects yet. So first things first, we have Cap Shell, which is what I just talked about. It says that you can only use one of the following effects of Cap Shell once per turn and only once that turn. If this card is tributed, you can draw 1 card. If this card is used as material for a fusion, synchro, or link summon, you can draw 1 card. If this card is attached from an Xyz material or Xyz monster to activate that monster's effect, you can draw 1 card. And I mean, this is interesting, right? I think this card is actually like a worse version of that Battles of Legend card that we looked at. That's like whenever it's summoned, you get to draw a card. If this card could use all 3 of those effects in 1 turn, yeah, that would maybe be a little bit scarier. But because it's limited to just one of them and only once per turn as a hard once per turn, I don't really see this card being played in too many strategies. Maybe I'm missing something, but to me at least, it seems like if there's an equivalent of this card that just came out that triggers the draw effect whenever it's summoned, that seems a little bit easier than this card. As it stands right now, I don't see this card being used. Barricadeborg Blocker. This is a dark link to 1000 attack. It's a link monster, obviously. 2 monsters with different names, so kind of like the Nightmares. And it says, if this card is link summoned, you can discard 1 card. During the end phase of this turn, add 1 continuous or field spell from your graveyard to your hand. You can only use this effect, a Barricade Blocker or Barricadeborg Blocker, once per turn. Phase of spells you control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card's effect. What? That is crazy. Also, if you can see, it has a left pointing arrow and then a downward pointing arrow. Wow, this card actually seems like pretty good. It seems kind of insane that you have a card. I know that they just hit Metaverse and just hit Terraform, and maybe this is kind of why, and it is a little scary having a card that, I mean, it's slow, don't get me wrong, it's during the end phase, it's like a Scarm effect, but adding continuous or field spells from the grave with your hand, recycling those cards that maybe you're only playing 1 copy of in some cases, that's a little worrying. At least this isn't like continuous trap cards, because if it was continuous trap cards as well, that would be really insane. game, recycling things like Imperial Order or whatever. But as it stands, this card seems pretty viable and actually could be a very competitive Link 2 monster, if only for the fact that its arrows are pretty... I mean, I guess we have other... I don't know. I see this card being played not only because of its effects, but also because its arrows are good. You don't necessarily have to make this only to get the effect from the graveyard. You probably wouldn't just play this by itself without having at least one field spell or one continuous spell card in your deck, but I think that it's completely fine if you don't have those cards in your graveyard already, if you need the arrow to just summon this thing instead of having to play like Beat Cop or the Psy-Frame Link monster. So overall, this card seems pretty cool. And then we have the Desperate Doom Eagle, a Link 3 with the same arrows as Decode Talker. This is a wind monster, and it takes 2+ wind monsters. It has 2,400 attack points, and it says gain 2,400 attack while your opponent has no monsters in their graveyard. Okay, quick effect, you can target one monster in your opponent's graveyard, shuffle it into the deck. You can only use this effect of this card once per turn. I mean, do you ever want to give your opponent back resources? I guess it's kind of cool that it's a quick effect. Maybe I'm underestimating this card. I don't know. It is sort of like a quick effect DD Crow, but I think that when you're analyzing this card, you can pretty much just remove the first line of text about gaining 2,400 attack points. That's just never going to happen. Even if you're using this effect multiple times, I think this card is not ever going to hit that 4,800 attack. Somebody just have to analyze it from a second effect, and is that good enough as a standalone on a Link 3 monster? Perhaps. I mean, this card isn't going to be good so much on the first turn, which might be its biggest issue. A lot of times when you're looking at like good Link 3s and Link 4 monsters, they're able to be summoned on the first turn, either going first or second, and pretty high impact, because to make a Link 3 monster, you're investing several cards into doing that. So you really have to look at what the effect is. This thing seems more like a controlling effect. Maybe it could be interesting though. I don't know. It is kind of cool to have a quick effect that's like a half of Transmigration Prophecy during either player's turn. That's like neat. I don't know how viable this card will be though. I think it's asking a little bit too much of the players to summon it being a Link 3 monster. Although like this card, I don't know, against certain decks that only have like one very important graveyard effect per turn, this thing could just like lock them out of the game. But we'll have to wait and see if this card actually ends up seeing competitive play. And then we have Star Power during damage calc. If your Link monster battles an opponent's monster, not off to a good start here, your monster gains attack equal to the total levels ranks of the monsters it points to times 400 during that damage calculation only. This is a hard one's return effect. Yeah, this card is straight up awful. There's not really like a huge debate there. There's so many cards that gain you like incremental amounts of attack. As far as the TCG goes, yeah, this card's awful. And then the last card before we get into all these Dream Mirror cards, which is the new TCG exclusive archetype, we have Fuma Wave, a normal trap card that says target one face-up monster on the field, destroy one monster on the field with the same attribute but a different name as that monster. I mean, okay, once again, this really does seem like a Duel Links card. It's weird when you've played Duel Links, and I haven't played Duel Links in a little while, but it is kind of strange how I look at cards like this in sets, because I think before I played Duel Links, I would have looked at these cards and been like, yeah, those two, like, they're terrible, like, they're never going to be played. But now I look at them and I'm just like, well, maybe these are just made specifically for Duel Links. Kind of an interesting way to think about it. But yeah, Star Power, Fuma Wave, these cards are probably not going to see any competitive play or experimentation unless there's like some crazy combos. These aren't even combo cards. No, these cards just won't see play. That's the end of story. And then the last 7 cards, like I said, are all these Dream Mirror cards, and I'm reading these for the first time, and it looks like these are higher rarity. I just noticed that even though the card list doesn't say the rarity, a couple of these have the ultra rare foiling that you'll see, like the first one we're looking at, so they might all be holographic, they might not be, I don't know. It doesn't look like they have any secret rares, but I can't quite tell. It's going off the database is a little bit tricky for this. So these are the 7 of them, is 4 monsters, 2 spells, and 1 trap. So the first one is the Dream Mirror Sprite. It is a light level 1 fairy effect monster, 0 attack, 500 defense. If this card is special summoned by the effect of a Dream Mirror monster, you can add 1 Dream Mirror card from your deck to the hand, except this card, during the main or battle phase. I mean, that's kind of cool. It's like a Strauss effect, but it's only on special summon, not normal summon. Keep that in mind. During the main or battle phase, if Dream Mirror of Terror is in the field zone, so we'll have to get to that field spell in a second. Quick effect, you contribute this card, special summon 1 of this copy from your deck. You can only use each effect once per turn. Oh, wait, no, Oh, okay. I read that wrong. There's actually, it's not summoning itself. It looks like they all, some of them have the same first name, but there's like a light and a dark version. So hold on. You attribute it to summon the dark version of this card. We'll read that one. So this is the same name, Ikilos, whatever, but it's the Dream Mirror Mara, not the Dream Mirror Sprite. And it looks kind of similar. I guess, I don't know. The pictures are so tiny on this, but they have like, this one's dark and it's still a fairy, but it has 500 attack and 0 defense instead of the other way around. This thing has the same exact first effect, right? Let's see. If this card is special summoned by the effect of a Dream Mirror monster, you can special summon one Dream Mirror monster from your hand. Not the same first effect, but the same trigger. So these, it looks like they all have effects where if they're special summoned by other Dream Mirror monsters or any Dream Mirror monster, you can get their effects. So the first one searches, this one specials from hand. Okay, and then during the main battle phase, if Dream Mirror of Joy is in the field, okay, there's 2 different field spells. Oh boy, okay. If Dream Mirror of Joy is in the field spell zone, you can tribute this card, special summon, and then you special summon the light one from the deck, so they're hard ones per turn. So I don't know how a deck, I don't know, in the past, when we had decks like this with multiple field spells in the same archetype, it usually hasn't worked out too good, but I could be wrong. And the problem that I'm seeing here, and we'll get through here in a second, maybe I shouldn't speak too much, but it looks like one of them only works with one of the field spells, and then the other one only works with the other field spells, so it looks like you could draw a lot of mismatched hands. These cards are just vanilla monsters without having the specific field spell on the field, which is kind of rough, so we'll have to see. So the next one is a level 8 warrior effect monster with 1,000 attack and 2,800 defense, and it looks like the second one has the opposite stats. So this is the Dream Mirror White Knight. So I'm sure there'll be jokes about that. If this card is special summoned by the effect of a Dream Mirror monster, okay, you can activate this effect. This card cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects this turn. Okay, I guess. During the main or battle phase, if Dream Mirror of Terror is in a field zone, so that's like, so it looks like the light ones activate off of the dark field spell, and then the dark ones activate off of the light field spell. You can tribute this card, special summon, and then you special summon the opposite one from the deck. So they have pretty similar effects. The only real difference here is, I mean, they all just special summon the opposite version of themselves, but the difference here is what they do in their special summon. So the dark version of that, which has 2,800 attack points, when it's special summon, you can target one card on the field, destroy it. So it's kind of like Dark Destroyer with like a lot more steps. Then it has like the same thing where if you have the light field spell, the joy field spell, you can tribute it and then special summon the light one from your deck. Okay, I guess that's interesting. So let's check out the field spells. Dream Mirror of Joy. So this is the one that you can send or tribute the dark ones when this is on the field. It says during the end phase, you can banish this card, activate one Dream Mirror of Terror directly from your hand or deck. You only use this effect once per turn. Dream Mirror monsters you control cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects or their monsters' attacks except your Dream Mirror monsters with the highest level. This card is only applied while you control a light Dream Mirror monster. That is so strange. The reason this is strange, I mean, the end phase thing, that's fine. The reason this effect is really weird is because that last effect is only applied when you control a light Dream Mirror monster. However, you're encouraged to have the dark Dream Mirror monsters out when you have this field spell. So this is requiring you to have, like, if you only have the Joy field spell and then a light monster, you can't use the light monster's effect because you have to have the Terror in your field spell zone to use their effect. Dream Mirror of Terror has the same end phase effect, it just swaps out with the other one. Each time your opponent special summons a monster, inflict 300 damage to the opponent. That's the effect you're giving this card. These cards are, I don't know, we'll have to see. The trap card, before I say anything, we'll read the trap card. Dream Mirror Fantasy. If you control a Dream Mirror monster, target one each of your banished Dream Mirror of Joy and Dream Mirror of Terror, shuffle them to the deck, and if you do, banish one card on the field. Okay, I mean, that's pretty cool. If a Dream Mirror cards you control destroy a battle card effect, you can banish a card from a graveyard instead. You only get one Dream Mirror Fantasy per turn. Okay, so the problem with this card is that to be able to activate the on-field effect, you have to have already survived 2 end phases with these Joy and Terror field spells because they banish themselves in the end phase. So it's like if you go first and you activate a field spell and you set the trap card, the field spell banishes itself in the end phase, but then you can't use that trap card on your opponent's turn because the dark field, or whichever field spell you didn't activate, hasn't banished itself yet. So it's like you have to wait until your next turn, but then it's like it's too late because you want the removal effect on your opponent's turn. I am very, very, very underwhelmed by these cards. Maybe some someone else has found some like crazy combos. But compared to like Cosmos when they first came out, which wasn't even that good but still competitive, compared to Burning Abyss when they came out, compared to like a lot of TCG exclusives when they came out, these cards are just looking a little bit too complicated in terms of how much they require you to have to get these sort of mediocre-ish effects. They look like they just die to any interruption as well. There's no like special summoning effects out of all of these cards, which is like a huge problem for a lot of these like first wave support archetypes. Anyway though, that is going to be it for today's video on reviewing all of the new TCG exclusive cards. I am kind of underwhelmed. It looks like that one Link monster with that adds a field spell or continuous spell card from your graveyard to your hand and end phase. It looks like that could actually be like the best TCG exclusive. And also, you know what? I was mean on Desperate Doom Eagle. I think Desperate Doom Eagle might be the second best TCG exclusive, believe it or not. That card is a lot better than those Dream Mirror cards. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed today's discussion video. Let me know what you think about these TCG exclusives. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.